Hi guys, Rob here again. Now, the reason I'm wearing these shades is not to be ultra cool or anything, though they sort of look alright, don't they? I've actually got a very bloodshot left eye, which you may actually see through the shades, I guess, in which case I'm sorry. Pretty disgusting, but I thought I'd put these on because the sight of it makes me feel bad. So goodness knows how it's gonna make you feel. And also, if you checked out my social media the last few days, got a bit of a dodgy left shoulder as well. So I'm falling apart. That time is finally here. Anyway, I thought I would come online to say hi. Obviously, there's been no videos for maybe a week or so. Because I was up in Liverpool and I was at the International Beatle Fest, which, as the name would suggest, is a festival of the Beatles and their music. And of course, people from literally all over the world, which, you hear these sort of things, but until you go there, you don't quite understand just the gravity of the situation. The reason I was there was because I was performing with my good friend, Gary Astridge. You all know, if you're a regular to my channel, that me and Gary do a thing called the legendary drums and drumming of a star, which is all about Ringo Starr, because of course Gary is Ringo Starr's Beatle drum kit curator. And he looks after the Ed Sullivan kit, the Get Back kit and the Shea Stadium, you name it, all these Beatle kits. Though I guess in the early days, up to the Hollywood Ludwig kit, it looks like maybe Ringo only had one drum kit because it always looked the same. But there were various sizes and so on and so forth. But anyway, so we were up there kind of doing that. But actually what we were actually doing on the Saturday at the Beatles story was just like an interview, really, where I was interviewing Gary just about his life and his contact with Ringo. So it was kind of a similar show, but kind of downsized and without the drumming bit. And to go to the Beatles story as a guest, I've been as a visitor, as a punter, but to be there as a guest and to be looked after, and I could go and look around the exhibits. I saw the new A Hard Day's Night exhibit, which, you wish these things were slightly bigger, maybe more extensive, but, it's a cool thing. And the Beatles Story Museum is very much kind of giving it, the average person that maybe doesn't know, regardless of age, a sort of chronological journey of their life, really, from day one to, the last day, and a little bit of their solo careers. And they do a grand job. So that was cool. And to be fussed, I'm not going to lie, being fussed over like that was cool. And Victoria was lovely. She was brilliant. All the people there were lovely. And we had about 25 people come down to watch that. And it was great just interviewing Gary, me on the microphone like some sort of comedian. And yeah, the interplay between us is always good. We always get told off by Bev Carroll, who is really like Gary's sort of personal assistant here in the UK and helps us to book some of those Ringo shows, which we did earlier this year in February, which I know some of you came to, so thank you for that. And of course, on this trip, we were going to end up in Shrewsbury, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, Beatle Fest, brilliant. They wanted Gary to do some chats, and they had people like May Pang there and Freda, the Beatles fan club secretary and all that. She was there, and some other sort of luminaries from the Beatle years were doing their thing, as well as Mal Evans, his daughter. And Mal Evans was the Beatles sort of roadie, one of the roadies, and he's in the Get Back film. He's got glasses, really cool looking guy, and he was with them all the way through. So she was there as well. That was great to meet her. And yeah, for me, as a Beatles fan, going there was quite something. Obviously, Liverpool is always busy, but it was mega busy. And as much as I like the Beatles music, which I do, hearing it coming out of nearly every pub and club and restaurant as you walk round was a little much, but it was wonderful. Why am I complaining? It's a brilliant thing. People doing different versions of Beatles songs from like Japan and Chile and God knows what else. It was incredible. And then of course you got the lookalikes all walking round, the Beatles or individual members from different eras, all the bands that were playing at the Adelphi Hotel on the sort of convention day, the marketplace day, which I'll talk about in a sec, was amazing. So we did that on the Saturday. And on the Sunday, we got up 7 a.m. and by 7:20, we were at the Adelphi, which is probably one of the oldest hotels in Liverpool. Every room inside looks like a ballroom from the Titanic. It's amazing. And I'm sure it's mega haunted. But yeah, we had a stall there because obviously in conventions, people want to sell things as well. So Sunday is the day where all the record sellers go there, and anyone selling Beatle t-shirts or memorabilia, clothes, you name it, tea towels. I mean, God, loads of different things, and that was pretty cool as well. And we had a stall there, obviously Gary selling his Beats and Threads book, which is amazing, all about Ringo's clothes and his drum kits. And just being on that stand, with Bev, and Gary was in and out doing different talks in conference rooms, as May Pang was and various other people. I met so many people from all over the world and hearing their stories, and as I say, no matter how aware you are yourself of the phenomenon of the Beatles, until you start meeting people, from like Finland and Sri Lanka, and Holland and Chicago, and all these people, they're just coming over from all over the place, different continents and cities, and you just think, blimey, it's not just, it brings it home that the whole phenomenon was real, and it's part of music and world history. It's not something that your granddad or your grandmother said, oh, my favourite band was so-and-so and they were brilliant, and you think, cool, they were. But you say that about someone like the Beatles, you just got to get on YouTube and just see some of the airport scenes, some of the live concert scenes and all that to see that it's actually true. And as I say, I forget. So, of course, seeing these lookalikes walking about, there's half of me thinking, really? Ow. Really? The other half is like, why wouldn't you? If you're a fan and you love them that much and that's your life, life is short. As far as we know, we only get one in this form. And if that brings you joy to dress up like Paul McCartney for the day and walk about Liverpool for 4 or 5 days as Paul McCartney, then, or Ringo or whoever, then why not do it? Same with all the Comic-Con things. You see people dressed as Spider-Man or Catwoman, which is always obviously a good thing. Why not if it brings you joy? And the people, as I say, walking about of all different ages, sizes, shapes, creeds and colours, and just loving the Beatles. Some just in t-shirts, but some dressed up and everything, and just wonderful. It was a wonderful, cool thing. And on the Monday, which was the bank holiday, we went to the Cavern and we saw Tony O'Keefe's band, which are brilliant. They're called the Shakers, and they do all the early 60s stuff. Jerry and the Pacemakers, the Searchers, as well as obviously Beatle tunes. And they were phenomenal as ever, so cool. And Tony O'Keefe's such a great drummer in that sort of 60s beat style. It phenomenal watching him. He sort of looks like 1967 big swing face Buddy Rich with a shorter haircut, when he looks really cool when he's on that kit. But he's got all the 60s touches and a lovely technique. So it was great seeing them. And we also saw a band doing the later Beatles stuff, which was great to hear live, because obviously none of us will ever hear that live again. Hearing things like Oh Darling from Abbey Road and things like that played in a modern day setting just makes you feel, how cool it would have been to have been at Abbey Road to hear them as a band. Because I think a lot of people see the clips of them miming on Ready Steady Go or Top of the Pops and think they were just like, It's only when you sort of show the gig footage at Washington Coliseum or Shea Stadium or wherever, and you could see the amount of energy they put in, how the amps were turned up to 11, feeding back sometimes because they were so loud, and how Ringo was hitting 7 bales out of those drum kits. You heard, just really exciting, So to hear that music live like that is like, wow, it shows you how, as a young teenager in the early 60s, at the Cavern, how that sound would have come across, and how it would have sort of early rock and roll, not punk, but garage, whatever. It was just exciting. They were just going for it. And all those years in Germany, honing their skills. Anyway, so that was cool. And of course, I did some buying on the Sunday. I didn't mention that. I'll talk about that. Or maybe I should talk about that in a minute. I don't know. But very briefly, my love affair with Revolver continues. So I had to spend a little bit of money. I'll talk about these another time, because not everyone's a Beatle fan, are they? I get that. And this is an original USA stereo pressing, which was £70. But on the Capitol label, love that, with the inner sleeve and everything. And another bootleg of it called Abracadabra, which in a way, I've got the box set over there somewhere that was released in 2022 of all the outtakes. Well, not all, but a lot of the different outtakes. And some of that was already on there. But I'm a collectaholic when it comes to Revolvers. I had to do it. And I bought a few t-shirts. I bought this Stamp Out the Beatles t-shirt, which is cool, which George Harrison wore famously at Abbey Road on the Sgt. Pepper recordings. And the guy next to us on a stall was selling some really cool Beatle shots, negatives. He's from Holland, I believe, or Austria, sorry. And he had all these, he collects, he's like an auction house, and he collects all these old negatives that not many people have seen. He doesn't want the usual stuff that's online already. But I'll talk about this another time. A great shot there from behind the kit in Indianapolis, I think, is it? On the 1966 American tour, from behind Ringo's kit. And then I bought some other stuff as well, some other t-shirts, Revolver t-shirts and stuff from the Beatles store. Anyway, so yeah, so we did that, and that was a great day. Monday was cool. We had dinner at the Cavern. You know, you've got to do all those things, right? It's all a bit touristy, but why not? You're in Beatle town, so why not do it? And then on the Tuesday, we got up and we drove to Shrewsbury, where we did one of the legendary Drumming and Drums of a Star show for Ian Richards. Now, I've worked with Ian before and Salp Music earlier on this year. I did a drum clinic there, which was great. And when Gary was going to be over for Beatle Week, I contacted Ian Richards, and he said, yeah, let's put an event on after Beatle Week, it'd be great. And we got a nice little turnout for it, and got some awesome feedback. I think the show itself, you know, talking about the Ringo kits, his career, his life, his beginnings, you know, all of that stuff, plus me playing the bits that drummers can kind of steal and put into their own technique and playing. It's just a really good combination. And we're looking at doing more next year. So if you're a drum school or a drum shop watching this, or a drum teacher, and you want to put an event on and looking at historical drummers and drumming, especially rock drumming and stuff, then, you know, the stuff that came before Ian Pace, Mitch Mitchell and John Bonham, you know, then this is an amazing way to start, looking at Ringo and the open hi-hat rock technique that he brought in and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool. So that was a good evening. We enjoyed that. And then I had to come back, and I've been back in the studio with Little Men, and also producing music for other people as well, which I'll talk about later. And getting back to sessions myself outside of Little Men and things like that. So I'm back. No more touring for now, sort of studio based, and no more Beatle events. You know, that was the last Ringo show of the year. But thanks to everyone who came along in February, and also the other day in Shrewsbury, we had a great time. But Beatle Week, wow, what a thing. You know, if I ever needed, well, I never need it really, but if I ever needed some convincing that Beatle mania is still alive and well, then, not that I did, but then that was incredible, incredibly emotional. I remember going into one of the conference rooms where they've just had a massive screen just showing loads of Beatle concerts round and round. And I was watching their first gig in 1964 in America at the Washington Coliseum, where they had to keep turning the drums around and facing 4 different parts of the audience to make sure, which is crazy. You can't imagine Coldplay or anyone's agreeing to do that now. It's just, but it was so young. The whole thing was young. No monitors, all that thing. And 2 sort of 70-year-old ladies come and sat next to me. We were watching it, and they were laughing at the girls screaming and the guys as well screaming and all that, and knowing that they'd been through it and they remembered it, and they were singing along and clapping and giggling at various points when the Beatles were messing about and stuff. Anyway, it was just lovely. It was quite emotional. So anyway, there we go. That's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. As ever, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps. And also hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going to be posting more videos on drums, music, life, the universe, and all that kind of thing. So say thank you for tuning in. Go and listen to a Beatles song today if it makes you happy. And I'll be back with some more videos very soon. So once again, thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye.